My father raised his glass at my sister's wedding, smiled at 150 guests, and said into the microphone, "That thing in the back? Just a mistake I made 30 years ago." Everyone laughed. I didn't. I just hit record on my phone, and that reflex is the reason his company is gone, his accounts are frozen, and he's now a convicted felon. Because the daughter he erased? She finally pulled every thread he thought he'd buried. CTA, 15 to 20 seconds. If you've ever been underestimated, dismissed, or told you were the mistake, hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video so more people hear stories where the quiet one finally gets justice. And tell me in the comments, where are you watching from? Let's see how far the truth can travel. My name is Mia Carter. I'm 30 years old, and the last time my father publicly acknowledged my existence, it was only to delete it. The night of my sister's wedding, I stood behind the videographer's tripod, like I always did during family events, half shadow, half invisible. I told myself it didn't hurt anymore. That being the afterthought daughter was just the role I'd been assigned in the Carter family play. But when my father tapped his glass for his speech, some pathetic, desperate part of me still fluttered. Maybe just this once. He cleared his throat. To my daughter, my breath caught. Then he laughed. I should say, my only daughter. This amazing woman up here, he gestured to my sister glowing under a chandelier, is the pride of my life. That thing standing in the back. 100 heads turned. That was just a mistake I made 30 years ago. Honestly, we should have given her up for adoption when we had the chance. The ballroom erupted. Some laughed because they thought it was a joke. Some laughed because everyone else did. And the rest? They just looked away. Embarrassed. Complicit. But no one stopped him. Not my mother. Not my perfect, golden, honeymoon glowing sister. No one. I didn't cry. Didn't shout. I met my father's eyes and watched him smirk. Then I turned, walked out of the ballroom, through the lobby, and out into freezing rain that soaked through my dress. My phone was still recording in my hand when I whispered to myself, "This is the last time they laugh at me without consequences." That night, I made 3 phone calls and a single email that detonated everything he'd built. But before the explosion, there was the quiet. The next morning, I woke up on my couch in my ruined dress, mascara crusted at the corners of my eyes. The first thing I did was hit play on the recording. Hearing his voice clearly, without the clinking glasses and fake laughter, felt like being slapped a second time. And a third. And a fourth. I renamed the file, evidence_wedding_speech. Then I backed it up to my encrypted cloud storage, the same system I used in my job as a cybersecurity consultant for hospitals. Yesterday, I protected patient records. Today, it was my own sanity. I'd spent my whole life telling myself stories to survive him. He's old school. That's just his humor. You're overreacting. But hearing the raw audio, there was no story left to tell. He meant it. Every word. And if he was willing to say that into a microphone, what was he willing to do when no one was recording? That's where the first phone call comes in. The only adult who ever looked at me like I wasn't some unwanted obligation. My father's younger brother, Stephen Harris, the former co-founder of the company my father now ran alone. When he picked up, his voice was already tense. "Mia? Are you okay? Did you hear what he said? Did you hear the speech?" I asked. Cold. Flat. Controlled. A pause. Then a low exhale. "Your cousin sent me the clip. I've watched it 3 times. Your father's lost his damn mind." "No," I said. He's just finally said out loud what he always thought. Another pause, longer. "Mia, if you start pulling at threads around your father, you won't just find mean jokes. You'll find things you can't unsee. Then help me see them." Silence. Then, noon tomorrow. Quincy Diner. Don't bring the phone he pays for. And that was that. My college roommate turned financial crimes attorney. We hadn't talked in months, but the second she heard my voice, she said, "Okay, what's wrong?" I sent her the audio from the wedding right there on the sidewalk, rainwater dripping off my elbows. She listened, and her voice when she came back was steel. "We can work with this." I didn't know then just how much work she meant. I left a full voicemail documenting everything while the details were still fresh. The timing, the recording, the humiliation. Then I transcribed it and stored it with the wedding speech. Evidence, not emotion. A simple message to the Massachusetts State Procurement Anonymous tip line. Not an accusation. A question. What should a citizen do if they believe a major city contractor is cooking the books and retaliating against family members who know too much? I hit send at 2:17 a.m.
Sleep didn't follow.
Uncle Steve looked like he hadn't slept in days. His coffee trembled in his hands. You really want the truth? He asked. Yes. Your father hates that he can't control you. When you refused to join the company, he started moving assets into Hannah's name. He pushed me out because I told him what he was doing was illegal. He slid a folded packet of emails and board minutes across the table.
Fraud. Kickbacks.
Falsified safety reports. If someone with your skill set starts digging, everything collapses. My heartbeat slowed.
Cold.
Steady. Then let's dig. His eyebrows lifted. You sure? He insists I'm a mistake, I said.
Fine.
I'll be the kind of mistake that ruins his perfect little world. Lauren didn't waste a second. We sat in a tiny windowless room at her firm, the hum of fluorescence buzzing above us like an interrogation lamp. She pointed at a printed email. This is a threat. And this, she tapped a board minute excerpt, is evidence of fraud. Mia, this isn't just a family issue anymore. Nights became spreadsheets and PDFs. Patterns emerged, last-minute change orders. Shell companies. Suspicious payments. Pressured sign-offs from engineers. A pedestrian death at an intersection controlled by my father's faultless smart lights. Every discovery was a punch to the ribs. Then I found the shareholder spreadsheet. 25% of the company had been gifted to my sister. Meanwhile, I found a signature, my own, on a waiver giving up my rights to family assets. Signed the week of my college graduation. I remembered the night. The loud restaurant. My father pushing papers across the table, calling it standard. And me, stupidly eager not to disappoint him. I sent it to Lauren. Her reply was almost a growl. He manipulated you. But this is leverage. 3 weeks into digging, I received a message. We'd like to speak with you confidentially. Mark Dalton, Massachusetts Procurement Compliance. This was no longer a revenge fantasy. This was a whistleblower case. And I said yes. I still lived in their attic. Suddenly, my father started locking his office. My mother spoke in clipped whispers. Conversations died when my foot hit the stairs. They knew something was coming. They just didn't know how big. Here's the thing about cybersecurity. People reuse passwords. Especially arrogant people. Years ago, I set up his first smartphone. He used the same stupid password he always had. I begged him to change it. No one cares about an old man's emails, he'd laughed. Now, sitting in my attic, I used it to quietly set up a forwarding filter on his work email. Anything involving audits, contracts, my name, forwarded to a secure inbox he'd never trace. Within days, the dirt started flowing. And then I saw it. Subject: family dinner, Saturday. We need to bring Mia back in line before she does something stupid. Paperwork. Ambush. Manipulation. He wanted to corner me. I'd let him try. He slid a manila envelope across the table, an aggressive NDA that basically said I couldn't say his name out loud without owing him my future. You've been emotional, he said. Let's put this behind us. I placed a printed transcript of his wedding speech on the table. That's what you said into a microphone, I said quietly. And I recorded it. My mother gasped. My sister went pale. My father turned an ugly shade of red. Then I pulled out the USB drive. This is everything else. Emails. Contracts. The real paperwork. My sister whispered. You'll destroy us. No, I said. Dad already did that. I'm just done pretending it didn't happen. And I walked out. 2 days later, she met me at my climbing gym, where fear has grip strength and truth has gravity. She admitted she'd laughed at the wedding because she panicked. that she didn't know about the company's shares. That dad had built her career like a sandcastle, and she knew one wave could erase it. I can't help you openly, she said. But Mom's hiding things too. In her office drawer. Fear shapes people. So does guilt. I didn't hate her. I understood her better than I ever had. My mother's office smelled like paper and lavender hand lotion. She tried to scold me for tone before I even sat down. But when I mentioned the drawer, her face drained of color. You had no right. And you had no right to stand there while he humiliated me, I snapped. A long, awful silence. Then, open it. Inside were letters from the city questioning billing, bank transfers to my sister's trust, withdrawals from my college fund, and stapled to the back, a copy of my waiver with a note from my father. She's off the table legally. Focus on Hannah. She's the future. My mother looked broken. He controlled everything, she whispered. I didn't know how to protect you. You could have tried, I said. You chose silence. She began to cry. If I give you a statement, will it help? It'll tell the truth, I said. That was enough. 2 months after the wedding, my phone exploded with missed calls. My father, my mother, Hannah, relatives. The news alert hit next. City suspends contracts with Carter Municipal Systems amid fraud probe. A photo of my father scowling outside the Attorney General's office. Then the voicemails. You destroyed your own family because you couldn't take a joke. You tricked me. Mia, please tell them I didn't know. Everything's frozen, Mia. Please. Call me. I set the phone down and let myself breathe for the first time in years. This wasn't revenge anymore. This was truth. We sat across from each other in a law office conference room. He looked smaller, less invincible. You did this? He asked, voice cracking with rage. No, I said. Your actions did this. I just stopped covering for you. He glared. In every story I tell, you'll be the ungrateful daughter who ruined us. I smiled faintly. Tell whatever story you want. I have receipts. He took a plea deal. He went to prison. The company collapsed. Uncle Steve picked up the clean pieces. My mother resigned quietly. Hannah rebuilt her life from actual zero.
And me?
I moved into a bright apartment with no ghosts. I breathe easier now. I help other whistleblowers protect their digital evidence. And I play a short clip of that wedding speech in trainings. Not to relive the trauma, but to show people what abuse sounds like when the mask finally slips. People ask if blowing the whistle destroyed my family. But the truth is, my family was already broken. Fear held it together. Silence held it together. I just stopped participating in the lies. And sometimes choosing yourself means letting the wrong people walk out of your life, so you can finally walk into your own. If you felt that, hit the like button. Subscribe for more stories where justice isn't just served, it's engineered. And tell me in the comments, what's the most satisfying revenge you've ever seen? Or wished you could take? Thanks for watching, and remember, sometimes the quiet one is just gathering evidence.